So you lost your father was imprisoned when you were about 7 or 8.
And
And what happened to him? What was the consequences for him? He was doing quite well in some sense by North Korean standards with his trading. So he was good at what he was doing, and your mother helped him. But he got imprisoned, especially after he moved up into more dangerous commodities. You said that he started to trade metals, and that he was hiding the metals in cars, railway cars that were reserved for I think I've got this right, for Kim Jong-il.
yes.
Yes, and because they wouldn't be searched.
Yes. So every train in North Korea, we only have one train line, and that goes from one side of the country to the end. It sometimes takes a month to go because of low electricity and the railways are very bad. And that's why there's only always reserved one cargo that carries the things to Kim's from other
And
parts
what's
of the
in that
country.
car, just out of curiosity?
I mean, we hear these rumors. They grow the parts of the country that has the best land for growing apple or growing something like the best of the best from the country that is specially reserved for them. And nobody actually really knows what's even in there. Even when those people who search that cargo cannot go, and the people who guards it, they have to do body search and health checkup for them. So that's how severe it's controlled. So really nobody knows what they're carrying inside. And my father was able to do something with them and then carry the metals in that cargo, hiding. And
he was bribing guards to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And then he got caught.
Yeah.
And was put in so what talk about the prison situations, because just normal life in North Korea is unbearable by all accounts, but the prisons take that to a whole new level of hell. So what would have your father experienced in a North Korean prison camp?
So there are 3 types of prisons in North Korea. One is called the gwaliso. It is concentration camp. Usually you're born there. So let's say one day my grandfather committed some crime, then they take the generation to there. And it is like a permanent living condition there. You live there forever for the rest of your life.
And you're born there. You can be born there because of the group guilt of your ancestors,
so
which never goes away.
Right. You can never redeem by your group, whatever your ancestors did. Forever you're there. So they don't even consider these inmates a human enough. They don't even teach them who the leader is. They don't even know what Kim Jong-un is in that concentration camp. They are just
You said they're not
animals.
even allowed to look at the guards.
Yes, but that is every level. So where my father went was a prison camp. But those people know what Kim Il-sung is. But the thing is, they too also treat them like animals. They don't let them to ever see the guard's eyes. And of course, the conditions are, it's a Holocaust, what the UN said. In 2014, the UN did a 3 years investigation, and the only resemblance that we found in our history is a Holocaust. This is a Holocaust happening in North Korea ever, again.
And do you have any idea how many people are in the concentration camps, the worst of the prisons? Do you know what the estimates are?
They say around 200,000.
And what about the total prison population? Do you have any numbers for that?
Because so many are dying, so when you go to the prison, a lot of them die within 3 months. So those numbers are very hard to get. And it's the most secretive country in the world. Even though the America cannot figure out North Korea. So we know that there are positions. We can even satellite seeing those public executions happening. But it's very hard to estimate how many going in and how many dying after 3 months. It's hard to calculate that numbers.
And so your father was in prison for how long?
He was sentenced to more than 10 years. Initially I thought it was 17 years, but North Korea showed the record. It was I think 11 year sentence, prison camp. He got out something 4 maybe years later for the sick leave, which means he was bribing. That's the thing.
Right. He played a trick on the ward.
Yes. Right. So they thing called a sick leave. Once you get cured, you go back to prison again. And he was a very like a businessman. He lured like guards and get him out, and that's how he got him out during his sentence.
And so you saw your father again after a couple of years. How many years were you without him?
I think 4 years.
4
I think
years.
I saw him again when I was 12.
Right, and you described that in the book. And so what did you see when you saw your father? What had happened to him?
So when I was reading this book by George Orwell in 1984, it talks about the man like Winston who had a lot of wits, and after that all the torture he became empty, right? Like, and a lot of people like read that book as a fiction to them, but for me that was like my father. When I saw my father again, of course he had no hair. He just got out of prison camp. I mean, all he got was just bones, like literally skin on the bones. And the thing is, I didn't even feel anything. That's like what I'm still like guilty is like, I felt nothing. He was just so empty. His eyes were just hollow and empty. And then he was starting singing songs like, I didn't do enough for my country. Like he was so guilty that he was not a good revolutionary or whole. And he wasn't him. And in some ways, that was worse than killing him. They killed his soul permanently, that he never came back. Until he died, he felt guilty that crime that he committed for the regime. Till his deathbed, he told me never betray like the dear leader. And I don't know what he did to him, but he came out as a completely different person.
So it was not long after that that you and your family decided to leave North Korea to escape. You were 13.
Yeah.
Your dad died.
Mm.
He died of cancer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long after he got out of the prison that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys decided to make your way to China.
No, I escaped actually. So my sister at 16, she escaped first with her friend. And I told you as I got my stomachache, she left me a note to say, go find this lady, she will help you to stay.